Hey folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad that you're here today. Really fun show today. We're going to talk about things that you're doing that are ruining your body and your health. And these are going to be surprising things. It's not some of the basic things you're thinking about, like food and eating right and everything. We're going to cover a little bit of that. We're going to cover a lot of other things that you're doing that's ruining your health. And I want to start out with an interesting one. If you're lonely. This is an important factor, especially as we've gone through COVID. A lot of people have kind of isolated themselves, and loneliness has actually become a problem. And I've been in practice now 38 years, so I've seen patients come in and they tell us everything. And one thing we're really seeing for the first time ever in all these years is people are feeling depressed and they're feeling alone. So loneliness can cause chronic stress, and that can wear down your immune system, which makes you more susceptible to other diseases. According to a study published in the journal Antioxidants and Redox Signaling, and it's probably a journal you have in your bathroom right now, feelings of loneliness affect the body on a genetic level. It causes an increase in pro-inflammatory genes and decrease in genes that produce antibodies and help the immunity. It actually makes your body weaker. So the result is long-term inflammation, and that can represent a key mechanism in developing loneliness-associated chronic diseases. These things can be arteriosclerosis, cancer, neurodegeneration. The nervous system starts to degenerate. So it's a really serious issue, especially among seniors. It's interesting. All the seniors I've ever known in my life, they all want one thing. They want friends. I'm so lonely. My friends have died, or they've moved on, or we've separated. I wish I could find friends. And what's interesting is it's everywhere. Seniors across the world are lonely. And if we could just get them together, that would be great. I don't know how to do that, but that's just something to consider there. So if a elderly person calls you and just wants to get together, all as they want is your time. And not just elderly, but anyone. They might just want your time. They don't want a present. They don't want you to bring a cake. They just want time. And if you can do that for somebody, you can actually help build their immune system. It's really cool. So try not to get too lonely. Maintain social contacts. Make an effort to go out. We all do this. You want to go out tonight? I don't know. It's already 7 o'clock. And make an effort to socialize. It's really important. 2-3 times a week minimum would be really something that's good. And if you have someone that you can trust, touching them is important. Now, consensual touching, of course. But a hug. For example, if you hug somebody, it releases a chemical in your brain called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding neurotransmitter. It bonds you to other people. This is why when babies are young, it's very important that you touch them, you hug them, you kiss them, because that oxytocin is built up in you. And when a mother breastfeeds, oxytocin is released. When people have romantic interludes, for women, oxytocin is released. It's a bonding neurotransmitter in the brain so that it makes you feel closer to that person. So even something as simple as touching somebody's arm is going to make a big difference in helping their neurotransmitters develop and form so that their brain works better. Also, when you touch, you release something called dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that gives you pleasure. When you're lonely, dopamine levels have a tendency to drop. So dopamine and oxytocin are the two neurotransmitters that are released when we actually socialize and have some physical contact. So if you have that opportunity in a safe environment, that's something that's really good, not just for the other person, it's also good for you too. Nobody loses. Everybody wins. And that's one of the reasons I think we like to pet dogs, because when we have physical contact with another being, it releases these chemicals in our brain. Pretty cool stuff. So you're ruining your body if you're staying home too much. Go out and socialize. And what's nice is you can go onto this Facebook and find something with common interest, people with common interests. Maybe I'm vegan, so maybe it's a vegan cooking class. Maybe it's I'm Italian, there's Italian groups. And you can go to these things by yourself, because a lot of these groups, everybody's there by themselves. And they're just there for the same reason you are, to have a connection. So we talk on this show a lot about health, but we're going to cover some different aspects of health today. If you're vitamin D deficient, it can be adversely affecting your health on so many different levels. And the only way we can get vitamin D is be out in the sun, or if we take it as a supplement. Now, if you're out in the sun, you need about 10, 20 minutes a day with good exposure. Maybe your face, your neck, your arms, if you have shorts, your legs. 20 minutes a day should give you enough vitamin D during late spring, summer, and early fall. From late fall to early spring, you're not going to get enough vitamin D no matter how much you're out in the sun, because the angle of the sun is different in the winter than it is in the summer. You're not getting the UVB rays. UVB rays are the rays that interact with cholesterol on your skin and then form eventually what becomes vitamin D. So I strongly advise, unless you're out in the sun a lot, that you take a vitamin D supplement. Now, somebody asked me this the other day when I was a guest on a show, can you take vitamin D without vitamin K2? And the answer is no. You shouldn't. Can you? Yes, but you shouldn't. And the reason is vitamin D does many things. It helps the immune system, it helps the brain function, it studies with cancer prevention, but vitamin D helps you absorb calcium. Once the calcium is absorbed, you don't want it just floating around in your blood. You want to get it to where it's supposed to go, and in most cases, that will be the bones. Vitamin K2 directs the calcium into the bones. If you're just doing vitamin D3, the calcium levels can get too high in your blood. So it's got to be vitamin D3, not vitamin D2. Vitamin D2 synthetic version, you want to do D3, and you want to make sure you have K2 with it. So on our website, drjoe.com, we have a supplement, Dr. Joe's Vitamin D3 with K2. I take 5 drops a day. As an adult, most people can do well with 5 drops a day. The recommended minimum dose that you should have in your blood is about 800 nanograms per milliliter. I think you should have much higher than that. Take 800 nanograms per milliliter a day of vitamin D. You want to get your vitamin D levels in the blood up to about 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. Okay, so I correct myself. You want to make sure you're getting 600 international units to get your levels up. I think you should get about 5,000 international units. So 5 drops of Dr. Joe's vitamin D3 can help get your blood levels up to 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. At that level, you reduce your risk of chronic diseases dramatically. There's even studies on COVID that if you can get to 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter, you can reduce your risk of serious COVID reactions by about 40%. It's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. 5 drops a day, all you need. Now, if you are sick, if you feel yourself coming down with something, you can take 50,000 international units. So 50 drops of Dr. Joe's vitamin D for 3 days. Then reduce it back down to 5 because you don't want to overdose on vitamin D because that can have too much calcium in your blood. So vitamin D can be toxic, but in a short term, if you are feeling sick, you can take a mega dose for just a short period of time. It's so important. Study published in the Journal of Investigative Medicine, low vitamin D is associated with increased susceptibility to infection, increased autoimmunity. So if you have an autoimmune disease, even more important to get your vitamin D. What's an autoimmune disease? Many thyroid conditions, rheumatoid arthritis. These are all autoimmune diseases. The body is attacking itself. And vitamin D can help stabilize the immune system. It's so important. So once again, 5 drops, which is 5,000 international units of vitamin D3, Dr. Joe's, take that every day. That's going to help stabilize the vitamin D levels. Now, again, if you're out in the sun in the summer, maybe you can cut that back, but that's a good general rule. And for children, if it's half your size of an adult, maybe do half the dosage. So it's not an exact science. You don't have exactly the right amount, but it's important that vitamin D is in there. And if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, really important. Keep those vitamin D levels there. So it's a little tiny bottle. Carry it with you. It goes on a plane. I take it everywhere I go. I couldn't imagine not taking my vitamin D every day. So what we're talking about today are things that you're doing to ruin your health. And many times they're innocent. You don't even realize you're doing them. That's why we're doing this show. You've heard a lot with COVID, wash your hands. This is really important because it can prevent illnesses. One study of the American Society of Microbiology found that 83% of women washed their hands after using a restroom and only 74% of men did. So we men are disgusting, is what it boils down to. Wash your hands. There's a separate study, Michigan State University found 95% of us don't wash our hands well enough to kill bacteria. So not only are you not washing your hands, you're not washing them well enough. So if you remember when COVID first came out, it was all over the news, and it's kind of, went through its news cycle, and it's gone now. But you want to get in there and sing happy birthday twice, okay, at a slow rate. That's how long you should wash your hands. Scrub your fingernails. Go in between your fingers. Get the hands clean. Now, it's important the type of soap you use, too. Because if you use like deodorant soap, a lot of people have allergic reactions to deodorant soap, and they don't even realize it. So you got these, green striped soaps in your shower and you're washing with them, and you have sinus problems. I realized it took me years when I was younger to realize this, but my eyes would swell up if I had deodorant soap on my hands and I touched my eyes. So I don't recommend using deodorant soap. The soap I like to use is something called Castile soap. Castile comes in liquid or bar, and it's basically an oil, sometimes with essential oils in it, and likes dissolve likes. So an oil will actually dissolve the grease on your hands, and that's how one of the ways soap works. A lot of soaps have chemicals in them, and so you might have one benefit from clean hands and another a bad effect from having the chemicals. So that's why I recommend using a pure soap. In my house, everything is Castile. The soap at the sink, the soap in the bathrooms, the soap in the showers, everything is Castile soap. It's a liquid, and here's the thing. When you start using something like Castile soap, you're going to be blown away how easy it rinses off your skin. And if I'm in a place where I don't have my Castile soap and I have to use a commercial soap, I just feel slimy. The soap doesn't rinse off very easily. So it's important what you put on your skin because your skin is a sponge. And anything you put on your skin can be absorbed into the body. There are drugs we can put on your skin that can be absorbed into the body. So think about this with soaps and shampoos and lipsticks. Every commercial lipstick ever tested has nickel in it. Nickel is a heavy metal. It's a toxic poison. Every commercial one ever tested. And so be careful what you put on your skin because it's going to get in your body. And soap is one of the things that we use so often. I want to make sure you're doing the right kind. I talked last week, I think it was, about toothpaste. And I'm not a fan of fluoride because fluoride can get into your body and it looks like iodine. So it can block up the iodine receptor sites in your thyroid and prevent you from absorbing iodine, which can affect your thyroid function. So that's why I don't use fluoride toothpaste. I have a water filter in my house that filters every drop of water in my house. Why? Because I don't want to have toxic water. If I'm bathing, I don't want to have it absorb into my skin because chlorine is a lot like fluorine, which is a lot like iodine. So chlorine can actually block up your thyroid and prevent it from absorbing iodine. So these are little things that you can do every single day that's going to add up to hopefully a lifetime of good health. It's not hard to do. It's pretty easy. So washing your hands is important. Washing them long enough is also very important. So these are things that you can do every single day. What you eat. You have control of your diet. No one is forcing you to eat bad food. So if you're going to eat, you might as well eat good food. It's very simple. So if you've listened to the show before, I talk about the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. The 7 foods you want to cut back or cut out of your diet. And if you're new to the show, those are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. And I know if you're new to the show, you're thinking, but Dr. Joe, if I don't eat alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, I will eat nothing. I will starve to death. That's my whole diet. No, it doesn't have to be your whole diet. I estimate there's about 120,000 other foods that you can eat. And if you don't know what to eat, go to our website, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat? And it's an hour lecture that I did. I was in a studio all by myself, and we talked about breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, raising kids, parties, all there. And by the way, all our podcasts, absolutely free. We have over 2,000 hours of podcasts on the website. They're all free. So you can search what you're looking for. But if you don't know what to eat, just type in, so what can I eat? And it's all there. And it'll tell you exactly what to eat. Not hard, easy. And here's the thing. It's cheaper than anything you're doing right now. You will save so much money by eating the right foods. Your wallet will thank you. And at the end of the week, you'll have more energy. You'll feel better. You'll go to the bathroom better. Your love life will improve. Your social life will improve. There's no downside to eating a good diet except one. The bad food tastes good. I remember. Okay, I haven't had any animal products in 35 years. I've been vegan for 35 years. And so most people think I'm about 15 or 20 years younger than I am. I remember those bad foods and how easy it is to get hooked on those things because they taste so good. But once you get healthy, nothing tastes as good as being healthy. I think Suzanne Summers said nothing tastes as good as being skinny. I'm going to take it one step further. Nothing tastes as good as being healthy. And when you're there, you'll be blown away and you'll say, yeah, do I miss meatball sandwiches? Yeah, I do. But it's not worth it. I promise you. And the other thing you can do to keep yourself healthy is make sure your nervous system is working properly. Your nervous system controls everything. Your brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves to every cell in the body. The heart, the lungs, the liver, the spleen, the kidneys, the gallbladder, the prostate. Everything is hardwired to the brain by nerves. 2 things can interfere with the messages from the brain to the body, chemical or physical. Now, chemical would be food, drugs, alcohol, environmental toxins. That's why I push nutrition so hard, because you have control of what you eat. It's a very simple process. You want to do an experiment? Go to a restaurant, cover up the food, look at the prices. Pick the cheapest thing on the menu. Inevitably, I've never seen it not, that'll be the healthiest thing on the menu. It's just that simple. Okay? So you save money too. So you can, instead of saying you're cheap, just say you're healthy. Save a lot of money. But if nobody's telling you or forcing you what to eat. You have control of that. But the nervous system, if you have a pinched nerve, you might have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches. That's the easiest thing in the world to fix in most cases. Chiropractic care is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain in most cases. Not all, most. So if you have pain, I can't imagine why you wouldn't go to a chiropractor first. Most effective, least expensive. It's an absolute no-brainer. And some insurance companies now are finally getting smart and saying, no, before we allow you to have surgery, we need you to go conservative treatments first. Let's do chiropractic first. If it doesn't work, then we can do injections and surgery. Good for them. They're saving a ton of money. They're saving you a lot of aggravation and perhaps even some issues later on. So if you have a problem, make an appointment to come see us. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, the Atlanta area. We would love to be your doctors. So drjoe.com is the website. You can book it right online. There's phone numbers everywhere. You can call us if you want to. But you can book an appointment at any of our offices right online. We accept almost all insurances, car accidents. Here's the thing. If you're ever in a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. That's my experience, 38 years. I've never seen it not happen. You are not tougher than your car. So if you're in an accident, you know somebody in an accident, please get them to see us as soon as possible. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, and the website again, drjoe.com. Great information there. All right, some other things that you're doing to ruin your health. You're not getting enough sleep. Many of us think that we're still 16 years old and we can stay up late, drink a six-pack of beer, have a pizza, sleep for 3 hours, go to work the next day. It don't work that way anymore. We're getting old. And so sleep is really important. When you sleep, your body engages in so many different processes to repair and regenerate the body. Your body heals when it's sleeping. One of them is to make sure the immune system works properly. So if you're not getting enough sleep, it's going to adversely affect your immune system. So when you're sleeping, your body produces inflammatory cytokines, they're called. They're chemicals. And then the body fights them off. So the body releases all these different chemicals from the adrenal glands, like cytokines. And some cause inflammation, some fight inflammation. So that's when the body does its healing. Now, sometimes we need inflammation for the body to heal. Inflammation can be a good thing. Out of control inflammation is where we have the problems. And so sleep is where that body regulates it. So according to the National Sleep Foundation, we recommend adults get about 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a day. Teenagers a little bit more. And children, of course, infants, they just sleep all day anyway, because that's when they're growing. Now, if you're not getting good sleep, go to our website, drjoe.com, and type in the word sleep in the search bar. And we did a show on sleep. It'll give you a ton of different hints on things that you can do to keep that body healthy. And sleep is so important. It's one thing we do a third of our lives. And many of us don't get good night's sleeps. Could be from chemicals. It could be from drugs. Could be from alcohol. Could be from dehydration. Could be from stress. Could be from acid reflux. How many people have acid reflux? Raise your hands. A ton of you do. I know you do. You should come in the office and you tell me. Acid reflux might cause heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, chronic cough. People doing that all day. That's a sign of acid coming up into the esophagus, irritating the throat. That can be dangerous because if you have acid reflux, you may be irritating the esophagus, and that can lead actually to cancer. And I've known people dying of cancer, of esophageal cancer, and they had acid reflux. And in most cases, if the stomach is pushed up against the diaphragm, we're able to pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm, physically move the stomach, and resolve the issue. Not in all cases, in most. So if you have acid reflux, that can affect your sleep because your diaphragm can't push down and get enough air into your lungs. You could be coughing all night. You could have burning in your throat. Very serious condition. And in most cases, easy to fix. Even snoring. Snoring is oftentimes due to the stomach up against the diaphragm. Pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. The snoring is a symptom. It's telling you that there's something wrong. Snoring is not the problem. Snoring is telling you that there's something not working properly. So you might want to come see us and let's see if we can get that fixed for you. Again, we can't promise results, but we get pretty good results. Other things that you're doing to adversely affect your health. You're constantly stressed out. It's a big problem. There's chemical, mental, and physical stress. Now, the physical stress we talked about, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, knee issues, many cases, that's a chiropractic issue. It may take a few weeks to get resolved, but in most cases, when pain is involved, chiropractic should be the portal of entry. Absolutely. Emotional stress. Many times, we started the show by talking about neurotransmitters in the brain. Many times, the brain isn't producing the proper neurotransmitters. And that's oftentimes due to what we just talked about, digestion. Your stomach's job is to take proteins, unravel them, and chop them up into something called amino acids. Now, the amino acid tryptophan becomes serotonin in your brain. Serotonin makes you happy. So if you're under stress, many times you're not producing enough serotonin, or you're not utilizing the serotonin that you have, many times due to the stomach not giving you the raw materials to produce the neurotransmitters. So that acid reflux thing we talked about has so many different ramifications in your life, and in many cases, it's easy to fix. So if you have that, you might want to come see us, and let's get that resolved. Chemical stress is what you eat in most cases. Now, there's perfumes and hairsprays and colognes and new car smell. These are all toxic chemicals. But food is the one thing, the one constant you have control over. And again, if you don't know what to eat, drjoe.com, listen to the show. I do recommend, too, that you take enough supplements in your body to deal with your stress. If you're under stress, you're affecting your adrenal glands. It uses up vitamin C. It can use up vitamin D. I take the minimum supplements that I think everybody should take are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I take a scoop of each. I shake it up with some coconut milk, almond milk. I drink it. Sometimes I put a frozen banana in there if I want to get crazy. Whip it up in a blender. The minimum supplements to just keep the body functioning, I suggest Super Greens and Essential Source. They're on the website, drjoe.com. I take digestive enzymes. Whenever I eat a cooked meal, I take a digestive enzyme. Because as you get older, it's harder to break food down. Digestive enzymes, most cases, solves that problem. I take vitamin D. I take vitamin B. I take omega-3 fatty acids. I take glutathione to keep my liver healthy. I take glutathione also helps with my immune system. I take probiotics for my immune system. So if you don't know what supplements to take, if you go to our website, drjoe.com, we have all the supplements listed. It's in the store and explains each one. If you have any questions, send us your questions through the website, drjoe.com, and I will try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, I want you to do me a favor. I give you guys a lot of information. It's free. I need you to do me a favor. I want you to follow us on social media. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, my handle is @DrJoeEsposito. So I need you to follow me so that the more people follow, the bigger we get and the more people can get this message. So that's what I need from you, @DrJoeEsposito. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service, whatever it is, and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. It's the title of my first book, Eating Right for the Health of It. So Dr. Joe for the health of it, and we have hundreds of hours of podcasts there. On our website, over 2,000 hours of podcasts. Our YouTube channel, thousands of hours of podcasts. drjoe.com is the website. @DrJoeEsposito is our handle. And if you do want to make an appointment, and I think you should, drjoe.com, you can book it right online. Who's a good patient? Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, digestive issues, nutritional issues. I can't tell you. I've seen, I'm guessing, tens of thousands of patients in my career, and the biggest complaint I get for 38 years now, why didn't I do this sooner? Stop suffering needlessly. We accept almost all insurances too. drjoe.com, you can book appointments. Again, if you have any questions, drjoe.com, you can send me through the website. We'll be right back. Hey folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. What we're talking about today, and we talked about earlier, are things that you're doing to ruin your health. There are things that you're doing that you might not even realize that are happening, that are having an adverse effect on every aspect of your health. And so I want to talk more about that because it seems to be a very popular topic because it's just little tidbits and people like these little lists, 10 things you're doing, 12 things you're doing. Well, there's a lot of things you're doing to ruin your health. So we talked, last time we talked about not getting enough sleep, making sure you wash your hands, make sure you're getting vitamin D, make sure you're not lonely. Socializing is a really important aspect. We are gregarious creatures. We like to be around other people and the neurotransmitters that are produced when we're around other people. And so we covered that earlier. I want to continue on. And something I've always done this, way before COVID or anything. I never like to touch shopping carts because I always don't know what was there. And so what I always did, and I still do, is I have some rags in my car, and I always just take it and put it on the handle and, wheel around the grocery store because you can sanitize it. A lot of grocery stores have these sanitizing, wipes now, which is good, but I want to cover the whole thing. And I think that's just something that's important that you can do. And so I just carry rags in my car. And then when I do laundry, I wash my masks and I wash my cart handle things and everything. And I've never really talked about that before. It's just something I've always done. And it's probably not a bad idea. Other things that you're doing every single day that adversely affect your health is you're weakening or blowing out your immune system. And this is so important because the immune system, not just for quick diseases, current diseases, let's say flu or COVID or something like that, but long-term diseases, autoimmune diseases. So the two things I want you to stay away from, and I've used this in just about every show I've ever done, I want you to stay away from wheat and dairy products. Wheat and dairy products just cause so much inflammation in the body and really weaken the immune system. Sugar, when I say wheat, it could be breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, all types of sugar really weakens the immune system. And so cutting out sugar is going to be the key. Now, here's the thing with cutting out sugar. You got to get it out of the house. If you have sugar in the house, chances are that you're going to eat it. It's so easy and so quick and so much fun to have a cookie or a donut or some ice cream. But if it's not in the house, chances are you're not going to eat it. So when patients come in our office and we do nutrition evaluations, I like when couples come because it's, I want to explain everything to both people. And usually the other partner becomes the next patient. Is that if we're going to do a nutrition evaluation, everybody in the house has to play. Because, I've been vegan for 35 years now. If there's vegan, gluten-free cookies in the house, I want to eat them. I know better, but I still want to eat them. If they're not in the house, then I'll say, what do I got? I got some grapes. I'll have some of that. Maybe some grapefruit. I'll have some apples. I'll have some frozen mangoes. I'll whip it into a smoothie. I eat what's there. So getting the bad food out of the house is so key. Now, people ask me all the time, what supplements should I take for my immune system? The supplements that I take for my immune system are Super Greens and Essential Source, which are the minimum supplements everybody should take. They're 2 powders. I mix them together with some coconut milk, almond milk, water. They taste great. That's the starter kit. I then take vitamin D every day. I take probiotics every day. And I take glutathione every day. All of those are available on the website, drjoe.com. Now, you can come see us at any of our offices. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, the Atlanta area. Love to have you come in and pick up the supplements for 2 reasons. 1, we want to meet you. And number 2, it saves you money. You don't have to pay for shipping. Now, we're happy to ship it. It's not very expensive. It's only a couple of bucks to ship it. So if for convenience-wise, we're happy to ship it to you. But if you can stop by, feel free to do so. Check the website. Check for the hours. The different offices are open at different times. And you can come by and pick up the supplements. But Super Green, Essential Source, D, probiotics, and glutathione, that's my immune protocol. Now, we have 2 other supplements as well. And I don't talk about them much, but I really should because they're some of the best supplements we have. It's Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic and Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster. Now, the Wellness Booster is Echinacea, Pau d'Arco, olive leaf extract, and it helps stimulate white blood cell production. I take that very often in the winter, just to keep my immune system strong. Now, if I start feeling under the weather, if I start feeling sick, which doesn't happen very often, we have something called Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic. And that's ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic pureed in an apple cider vinegar. It tastes the way it sounds. Very strong. Tastes like a really strong salad dressing. But let me tell you, I have flight attendants and pilots, people that are really stressing their immune system all the time. They can't travel without this stuff. And for a while, it was out of stock. It's back in stock. So the Wellness Booster and the Seasonal Tonic, you should have those at your house anyway. And again, the Wellness Booster you can take every day. The Seasonal Tonic you can take every day if you want to, but I take it if I start feeling under the weather. Amazing. I mean, they're pretty powerful. Just brace yourself. And it says a dosage. You can take more than what the dosage is recommended because it's food. And so just eating a little more food. I have to put a dosage on there because, the government says we have to put a dosage on there. But you can take more than that if you need to. And so those are all on the website, drjoe.com. Another thing that has come about in this new world that we live in is we're not getting enough exercise. We're not keeping our body in motion. Now, if you don't like going to the gym, I don't like going to the gym. I find it boring. I find a lot of people that are super high energy sometimes get bored of the gym. Just do something. Clean your house. Go outside. I have a stream in my backyard, and a while ago we had a big storm, and it changed the whole course of the stream and the rocks and everything like that. So I've been out there a lot just moving rocks around. That's a good exercise. When I was in high school, I was the biggest guy on my football team, and we were county champions, and I was the biggest guy on the team. And I remember I'd work out. I'd jog from my house to my uncle's house, and then my uncle and I would lift weights in his garage. We didn't have gyms back then. And my grandfather, German immigrant, big mountain of a man, I remember him looking at me one day and saying, "Ugh, you want muscles? Here's a shovel. Go dig a hole." Very profound statement. Here's a shovel. Go dig a hole. Those are practical muscles. Those are muscles that you use in every day. I'm not going to bench press a lot of things in my life. I mean, it gives me muscles, of course. It makes me look good and helps build muscle mass, which is important. But practical muscles are just as important. So if you have the opportunity to garden, if you have the opportunity to clean your house, if you have the opportunity to sweep, get out there and do that. Those are also exercises. And you see the results. I'm big on results. So that's why I like to garden. I look at my garden. I said, "Oh, look at that. I did that." And then toward the end of the season, I can only eat so many tomatoes, and I'm sick of them. And figs. So I got this huge fig tree. But get out there and keep the body in motion. It's really important. If you have a desk job, what I want you to do is this. I want you to set your timer on your computer, your clock, whatever it is. And every hour, I want you to stand up and I want you to do 30 seconds of activity. 30 seconds is all I want. And the best activity that you can do in a short amount of time is something called a cross crawl. Now, the way this works is like this. The right side of your brain controls the left side of your body. Left side of your brain controls the right side of your body. So we should integrate our brain using both sides of the body. Unfortunately, what we usually do is we segregate our brains. We use one side of the brain more than the other. What does that mean? I'm right-handed. So I'm going to write with my right hand. I'm going to brush my teeth with my right hand. I'm going to start my car with my right hand. I'm going to work my mouse with my right hand. I'm using the right side of my body, or the left side of my brain, more than I'm using the left side of my body and the right side of my brain. So by integrating both sides of the brain, you'll be amazed how much more energy you'll have. Your balance should improve. Your brain function should improve. And all you got to do is march in place. And what this looks like is stand up at your desk, bring your left elbow to your right knee, and your right elbow then to your left knee. Left elbow, right knee, right elbow, left knee. Integrating the brain. I do this when I work with sports, professional athletes, amateur athletes. I have them work the other side of their body, like tennis players. I've worked with 8 Wimbledon champions in my life, plus a lot of other tennis players. Always right-sided if they're right-handed. Hold a racket in the other hand and just bounce the ball off the wall with your left hand. Now, you're not going to do very well. It's not competition, but you're going to use the other side of the brain. And so there's so many things about the brain that I teach my doctors and my patients that the brain is just oftentimes ignored. You have pain covered up. Well, why is it? Had a patient come in the other day, and he was hunched over, so he hunched over and he lifted his head up so he could see. Well, he started getting dizzy and falling forward. Went to a neurologist. It wasn't Parkinson's. It's called a festinating gait, and he didn't have Parkinson's, so they came to me. And I said, okay, when did this start? Well, as soon as he started to shrink, the wife was telling me, he started to shrink, and that's when the dizziness occurred. The falling forward occurred. So what he did is when he brought his head back, he was pinching what's called the brain stem and putting pressure on the occiput, and the occiput is putting pressure on the cerebellum. Cerebellum is part of the brain that controls balance. So because he was constantly looking up, because he was getting older and shrinking, and he had to look up to see, once we got his posture straightened out and brought his occiput down away from his cerebellum, the festinating gait stopped. And so I've seen this many times before. That's why I knew I can tell you what's going to happen. And so many times the brain function is ignored. The physical aspect of health is ignored. So often we try to treat the body chemically when in reality we need to treat the physical part. Structurally, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain is usually caused by bones out of place pinching nerves. That's physical. There's not a drug in the world that's going to put a bone back in place. Chiropractic care can put the bone back in place. And that's why chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain in most cases. So why wouldn't you go to a chiropractor, a quality chiropractor? There's a lot of bad ones out there. A quality chiropractor and get the best care possible for pain. And if it's not the end-all be-all, we can always escalate the care. We can do injections, we can do PRP, stem cells, exosomes, medical intervention, nerve blocks. But let's start with the simple and the least expensive. So if you have a health issue, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, tingling, digestive issues, nutritional concerns, make an appointment to come see us. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb in the Atlanta area, and we would love to be your doctors. So you can go right now, go to the website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right online, or you can call us. We're more than happy to answer any questions for you. We accept almost every insurance out there. Car accidents, hey, if you're ever in a car accident, folks, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. You need to come see us. drjoe.com, book an appointment. Stop suffering needlessly. Biggest complaint I get, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I wait so long? And the longer you wait, the harder it is to fix these things. So don't make my job harder and don't make your suffering more when all you have to do is just come see us. It's very simple. drjoe.com. Another issue I've seen with patients is that they exercise too much. Now, I knew a gal years ago, a very nice looking gal, and she worked out. She was in great shape. And it got to the point where exercise became her life. She would run 20 miles on a Tuesday night just for fun and then do yoga classes. Well, years later, I ran into her at an event, and I didn't even recognize her. She looked so old. She put so much stress on her body that the body actually started to age. So it was too much exercise. It's not often done, but I've seen it. And also, don't exercise too hard if you hurt yourself. If you have an injury and you try to work through the pain, not a good idea. I saw a movie the other day. What was it? Brittany Runs a Marathon was the name of the movie, I think it was. And it was a story of a girl who was overweight and she got so hooked on exercise, she couldn't stop exercising. She actually fractured her leg, stress fracture, and she couldn't exercise anymore. And it was just a nice little feel-good movie. But it was a good point. You can overdo it too. So if you injure yourself, you want to come see us. And here's the thing with athletes. I see this all the time. You can have a bone out of place, and then you build up strong muscles around it. So you're building up strong muscles around crooked bones. I want you building up strong muscles around straight bones. There's a difference. So I have athletes come in all the time, and they're hurting themselves because the bones are out of place. We put everything back in place, they're going to get a much better workout, a safer workout, an easier workout with less risk of being hurt. So if you're an athlete, I don't know, if I was Grand Poobah of the universe, I think everyone should get a spinal evaluation on a regular basis to make sure there's no pinched nerves. Because remember, 90% of the nerves don't feel pain. So I believe that everyone should get a spinal evaluation. It's going to prevent a lot of other issues. And I truly believe this is the missing link in healthcare. If we can get the nervous system working, the digestive system working, your diet straightened out, I truly believe we would totally turn around healthcare, the health of the world. We'd save so much money. We'd probably live longer. We'd be a whole lot healthier, a whole lot happier. Love life would improve. Home life would improve. Job would improve. I don't see any downside to being healthy. And I've been in practice long enough now to see where people used to go to chiropractors because they had pain. Now they're coming to see us with festinating gaits, with digestive issues, with brain issues, early signs of Parkinson's, neurological issues, brain zaps. We were talking about those earlier. And our clinic, all my doctors are handpicked by me. They're trained by me, and they're my personal doctors. If I don't trust my doctors taking care of my friends, my family, my loved ones, I don't trust them taking care of you. And it's a real challenge we have getting doctors good enough to meet our standards. I had a guy come in a couple of months ago. He lasted about 4 or 5 days. Couldn't hack it. It was way above his brain function. I said, no, this is not your average, I got a sore neck clinic. This is where we get way beyond that to getting to the cause of the problem and not just treating the symptoms. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, I would recommend any one of my doctors. So you can go to our website, drjoe.com, book an appointment right now, stop suffering. And if you're an athlete, absolutely positively you should be getting chiropractic evaluations so you don't do more harm than good. So many athletes, you've seen them, even professional athletes, amateur athletes. You went to high school with these guys and girls. They were in amazing shape, and now you look at them, they look like a Humpty Dumpty. They hurt themselves. They couldn't keep working out. They kept eating the bad foods that they did, thinking they can still burn those calories. It just didn't work. So too much exercise or the wrong exercise can be an issue. Another thing I see a lot of people do is they drink alcohol. And alcohol is one of my 7 deadly sins. But a hangover isn't only over-imbibing that can make you sick. Alcohol breaks down into acetaldehyde, and that's a very potent toxin. In excess, acetaldehyde inhibits the lungs' ability to sweep microbes out of the body. Common cold, lung infections. We've had a little issues with lung infections lately, right? So just one night of heavy drinking is enough to significantly impair your immune system. So how much alcohol is too much? In my opinion, any. But according to the CDC, the American Cancer Society, men should have no more than 2 drinks, or a woman 1 drink a day. Still think that's a little much. Here's my rule on drinking. If you're going to drink alcohol, for every 1 drink that you have, you need to have 3 glasses of water. Because alcohol shuts down the production of a chemical in your brain, antidiuretic hormone it's called, or vasopressin. Vasopressin prevents you from peeing too much. So when you drink alcohol, it shuts down vasopressin. Vasopressin allows the body to flush the alcohol out of the system, makes you pee. So you have to rehydrate your body. There's also another trick. I haven't given you this secret in a long time, and I probably shouldn't. But there's an herb or spice. It's called cardamom. Cardamom comes in little pods. It's oftentimes used in Indian food. And cardamom, when you break open the pod, has these little tiny black seeds in there. They look like poppy seeds. And this is an Ayurvedic trick. Ayurveda is the study of medicine from India. If you take about 5 of these little tiny seeds out of the pod and chew them with your first drink, you're less likely to get a hangover. Now, it's from Ayurvedic medicine. I'm not sure of the mechanism as to why it works, but it's a neat little trick. And I remember when I was in college, if I'd go to other colleges for other parties and stuff, I remember going to University of Georgia, and I would take cardamom seeds with me, and I became the guy with the seeds. And I'd give them out, and people would, drink and imbibe, and the next day they didn't feel as bad. So I'm not saying you should drink, but if you do, cardamom seeds, about 5 seeds, and then three glasses of water for every drink that you have. At least you can mitigate some of the damage. I also recommend you take a dose of Super Greens and Essential Source before you go out, and a Super Greens and Essential Source when you come home, and another dose the next day. And that's going to help mitigate a lot of that damage that you're doing from the alcohol. I'm a realist. I understand people are going to drink. If you're going to drink, at least stop the damage. So these are things that people are doing to hurt themselves. If you travel a lot on public transportation, that can be a big issue too. And it kind of goes along with my shopping cart thing that there's a lot of, they're never really cleaned that well. So it's a good idea not to touch public things as much as you can. I like to wear shirts that I don't tuck in. And so if I have a door handle or something, I'll use my shirt to open it with. Again, it's not necessarily being a germaphobe, it's just being smart. Another thing that people do to hurt their bodies on a regular basis is they eat too much sugar. Now, sugar causes inflammation, and that, of course, weakens the immune system, like we talked about. It weakens the white blood cells. Now, in my book, Prescription for Extreme Health, it's on the website, drjoe.com, we talk about the mechanism of how sugar weakens the white blood cells and how 1 can of soda can really blow out your immune system for hours and hours and hours. And if you're doing this every day, it's not something you want to keep doing. American Heart Association recommends men eat no more than 9 teaspoons of sugar per day, and women no more than 6. The average American eats 15 teaspoons of sugar a day, double what they should. 1 can of soda is your whole daily allowance of sugar if you drink soda. And that means breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. That's all sugar too. So reduce your consumption of sugars. If you like beverages that have bubbles in them, you can get soda now sweetened with stevia, Stevia. Z's is one of the brand names. Zevia. I'm sorry. Z's is another one. Zevia is another one. And they're sweetened with stevia. Now, they taste pretty good, actually. And here's what's going to happen. If you have to have your soda and you switch over to Zevia, let's say, after a few days of drinking Zevia, you're going to try a regular soda. It's going to be way too sweet. Now, you could just drink seltzer water if you want to. That's even better still. But if you have to wean yourself off the soda, try ones that are sweetened with stevia. And give it a few days. You might take a sip and go, oh, it's not as good as the sugary stuff. Give it a few days. And then you can go to that and then cut back to seltzer from there, or club soda. Club soda, by the way, has salt in it. Seltzer doesn't. That's the only difference. So these are little tricks that you can do, and that'll help with your weight as well. because being overweight really weakens the immune system. It prevents white blood cells from producing antibodies that fight inflammation. And there's an animal study conducted at the University of North Carolina. Researchers found that obese mice were 10 times more likely to die when infected with a flu virus than normal-sized mice. And even with COVID, most of the people that died from COVID, not all, but most, had a pre-existing comorbidity. Comorbidity means something else aside from the main issue. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, obesity. So we're in a world right now, we don't know what the next wave is going to be. Maybe there won't be, maybe there will. But now is the time more than ever to keep your body as healthy as possible. And cutting out that sugar and reducing the weight is key. If you don't know how to lose weight or you're having trouble, we have a 21-day program that we put out patients on. It's on the website, drjoe.com. Just type in 21-day weight loss. And you can, it's a 21-day protocol, get you on supplements, get you on shakes, and it kind of resets the brain. Because when you're overweight, it's not your stomach, it's your brain. And it gives you a chance for your brain to reboot, and then we get you on the regular, normal protocol of fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and good supplements and things like this. But if you need a jump start, the 21-day protocol is just awesome. I highly recommend it. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's your food anyway. Instead of buying food, you're doing this, and so it's really great. So I would recommend that. If you have any questions, you always call the office. We're more than happy to talk to you about that. Another issue that people are doing is they're exposing themselves to antibiotics. Where do you get antibiotics? Dr. Joe, I don't take antibiotics. I'm not any prescriptions. Most animal products out there, commercial animal products, are loaded with antibiotics. They give the animals antibiotics to prevent infection. You eat them, gets into your system. Little bit over time can kill off the good bacteria in your colon, weaken the immune system. Chlorine from chlorinated water acts like an antibiotic. And so that's why I have a filter in my house and I don't drink chlorinated water if I can avoid it, because it can kill off the good bacteria in my colon. So this is another reason why you want to cut out your meat and your dairy products, your animal products, because chances are they're going to have antibiotics in them. Now, if you're going to eat animal products, which you shouldn't, but if you do, make sure they're organic. Make sure you're drinking enough water. It's so important. You should be able to pee clear. If your pee isn't clear, unless you're taking B vitamins, you're not drinking enough water. And also something as simple as your cell phone. Please wipe down your cell phone on a daily basis. We have all these handy wipes and everything everywhere, wipes now that are available. Please wipe down your cell phone. You're breathing on it, you're touching it, you're spitting on it. It's a good idea to wipe it down. So, folks, I'm almost out of time. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. But the best thing you can do is just make an appointment to come see us. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, in the Atlanta area. We want to be your doctors. We accept almost all insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. Stop suffering. Biggest complaint I get is what? Why didn't I do this sooner? So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Follow us on social media. Please do this. I need you to do this at Dr. Joe Esposito. All the supplements we talked about also on the website, drjoe.com. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Tell your friends about the show.